Mysterious things are afoot right here in the best household. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Turnbuckle Talk, episode 417, the freelance market situation. OMD, I had a bit of a, before we get into our stories today, I had a bit of a mysterious situation happen to me today.
Okay.
So, as you know, I'm very vigilant with my money.
Yes.
Um, I was sitting there just playing away, playing some games on my phone, scrolling through Facebook, doing that sort of thing, when I get a notification from my bank. $20 was deposited into your account. So I go into my account. I'm like, from where? It didn't even say. It just said direct deposit $20. So I call my bank to see where it's from. Even they couldn't tell me because they didn't have the updated information on my account.
Hmm.
So all day I'm trying to figure it out. I even messaged my sister to see if she knew anything about any scams. She's like, "Oh, it's got to be a scam. It's got to be a scam. You don't just randomly get $20." Did it say anything about e-transfer? To which I'm like, "No, because it'll tell you right off the bat e-transfer from so and so." I
Yep.
know this because Bubba has e-transferred me some money before.
Yep.
Um, so then I'm like, "Wait a minute. I signed up for. I linked an my moi rewards to my bank card. So I went to for those who don't know, moi rewards is a point system, a reward system that Food Basics, our local grocery store, uses to get points so that you can for you to redeem for groceries further down the line.
Yes.
So I went to the website to check and see if maybe there was something that I didn't read about, like any incentives for me to sign up, and that's where I saw get $20 to link your Moi Rewards card, and then go shopping at Food Basics. All of which I did this weekend. So I'm
Nice.
like, I now know the mystery of the $20 in my bank.
Sweet.
Yeah. Not that I was complaining, because I mean it's an extra $20, but
Yeah.
then we got Bubba coming in saying, "Good evening, guys. How's it going, Bubba?" OMD, how was your day today?
My day was actually fantastic. Everything was sort of somewhat back to normal at work, although due to situations like we weren't supposed to have deliveries today because
Hmm.
one of the delivery guys was off. So I did have to go out on the truck to help with a couple, which wasn't bad because I don't mind getting back to my roots. But again, a
Hmm.
productive day at the shop. My issue started pre-stream when I chose to restart my computer so that I wasn't going to get hit with the lag. Then we were talking and I completely froze up. So I had to reboot the computer. Of course, then it just rebooted again as soon as I get back in here.
Yeah, so we were seconds away from going live when it happened. So I'm like, OMD messages me, and I'm like, okay, well, we'll just wait. If we have to run a little late, we will.
Yep.
But you know what? Since we're doing the show, I think it is showtime. And now our first story of the morning takes us, or the morning, it's not morning, it's evening, takes us to Frankfort, Kentucky. OMD, he still has the loop, even though he tried to clear it out. Um, and it talks about a woman who many of us believe should be in the Hall of Fame. OMD, I see you're with us. I'm going to let you carry on with this one.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was something that actually broke late last week. And I forgot all about it until I checked this morning. This is about a woman who was a pioneer for women in wrestling. Not necessarily the women's division in wrestling, because she was never really an active competitor. But Miss Elizabeth. And She is going to be honored with a tribute in her hometown of Frankfort, Kentucky, which began yesterday. Elizabeth, who rose to prominence as the valet for Macho Man Randy Savage in WWE during the 80s and 90s, is set to be honored at the Capital City Museum with a 2-year tribute. The exhibit, titled The Lovely Miss Elizabeth, the First Lady of Wrestling, will be open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. with free entry. The tribute for Miss Elizabeth will showcase the late star's impact on the pro wrestling world, right from her start in WWE to her years with WCW. Elizabeth and Savage's romantic storyline is regarded as one of the greatest love stories in WWE history, and one that's spoken about nearly 4 decades after it played out on WWE TV. Although she has yet to receive the Hall of Fame induction, her name is often brought up in debate over the best managers in history. After her run in WWE ended in 1992, Elizabeth had a stint with WCW where she managed Savage once again and later became Lex Luger's valet. Luger and Elizabeth had a real-life relationship until her sad passing in 2003, which Luger recently touched upon. Luger has disputed those who claim that he killed Elizabeth, but he said that he played a part in her addiction, which he too was battling at that time.
Yeah, I don't blame Luger for what happened to Elizabeth in that situation because, I mean, addiction is a really strong thing, but I'm very, very happy that she's getting the recognition she deserves. I
Yes.
mean, every year when I think of Hall of Fame inductees, she's right at the top of my list of women that need to go in.
Right?
I mean, yeah, she wasn't your typical manager in the 80s and 90s the male managers always got in, mixed it up with the wrestlers. We've seen them wrestle on several occasions. I mean, Fuji at WrestleMania 5, Bobby Heenan at the same event. I think Slick has even mixed it up a time or two.
Yep.
Um, but Elizabeth, she found ways of mixing it up on her own. And I'm
Yes.
referring to especially SummerSlam 88 when it was Hogan and Savage teaming up against the Mega Bucks, Million Dollar Man and Andre the Giant. And there was a point in the match where Hogan and Savage were down and out. Andre and DiBiase had them beat. She gets up on there and then she whips her skirt off, and both men and Jesse Ventura, who was the guest referee, jaws drop to the floor. And Hogan and
Right.
Savage are like, "We got them." And then obviously they went on to they proceeded to win the match. But I'm curious about like what they're going to be showcasing as far as like her gear. Like I got to assume the wedding dress from SummerSlam 91, I think, will be
Right.
there. All four of her
I'm
dresses from WrestleMania 4, maybe.
right. I'm wondering what all is going to be showcased besides photos. I would hope that there is potentially an unveiling of a statue for Miss Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely gear. But yes, she was a pioneer for women in wrestling, but like I said, not the women's division, because she was never an active competitor. I don't ever remember her getting in for a match.
I do. WCW. Eric Bischoff booked her in one.
Oh, okay. Oh, wasn't that, yeah, Elizabeth versus Kimberly?
Yeah. And you could tell, I mean, Elizabeth didn't want to do it because she was doing that whole "I'm just a manager. I'm afraid for my life" kind of thing. Which let's face it, Elizabeth, when she came to WCW and she started managing the Horsemen, her and Woman, they were not afraid to mix it up and take out who they needed.
No, no, and I mean she did take her bumps,
Mm-hmm.
but she was never an active competitor and never an active talent, so to speak.
Yeah, and the first bump I actually really remember her taking wasn't necessarily a bump, but when Jake the Snake Roberts slapped her. Do you remember that one when Savage was tied up in the ropes and
Vaguely.
Jake got the Cobra to bite him, and this was all leading to Randy Savage coming back to the ring after losing the career match to the Ultimate Warrior earlier that year.
Right.
And it just led to Savage beating up Jake the Snake at every opportunity he got.
Right.
But no, she this woman she's had a long and lengthy career with WWF and WCW. She came in because she came in 1986, or no, was it 86 or 85? She came in 85. I remember now. It was 85 she came in as the manager of Savage. Savage was doing this whole thing where he was playing the free agent. And all these managers, Bobby Heenan, Slick, Freddie Blassie, Johnny Valiant, were all trying to vie for his services because, well, Randy Savage was a hot commodity coming into the WWF at that time.
Right.
And he opted for Miss Elizabeth. And that was just an interesting dynamic because Elizabeth was coming in as a babyface. Savage was the heel.
Right.
But no, this is, I'm so proud. I'm so happy for this. We just, we see her in the games because she is a manager that you can choose.
Yep.
We need to see her in the Hall of Fame next.
Yes. Now, this is something that I know we've talked about, this Hall of Fame induction that needs to happen. But is this something now for Frankfurt that, yes, it's a kind gesture, but is it maybe a little bit late? Or do you think this is the right time?
I don't think it's neither late or anything like that. I do feel like this would be the right time for her. We're 22 years removed from the time that she's passed. And I think, from what I've understood, like her family didn't want her to go into the Hall of Fame. And Bubba, you're right; it's never too late for her to go in. This is a great opportunity for any wrestling fan who didn't get the chance to grow up and watch her as a manager. This is a great opportunity for you guys, if you're in the Frankfurt area, to go to this museum, do some reading up on her, find out who she was as a person, because I'm pretty sure they're going to have some stuff as her shoot stuff, a little bit of a story about there. They're probably going to show like all of her memorabilia. Maybe another thing I thought about, the dress that I had mentioned that she wore at SummerSlam would be one that I would showcase as well. Because she's been involved in some of the top angles in the late 80s. I mean, she was the crux of the Mega Powers exploding for WrestleMania 5.
Right.
It was Savage's jealousy over Hogan's lust for Elizabeth, as Savage had put it.
Yep.
But this is no, it's never too late for her. She deserves to go in. There's a lot of women from the 90s, even to today, that I've listened to, that I've seen talk, who say that Elizabeth was one of the reasons as to why they got into wrestling.
Right.
So 100%, she deserves to be in every Hall of Fame she goes into.
Yes.
That's bar none. Because she could play the babyface well, and she also played the heel well.
She did.
So yeah, 100%, she deserves it. Speaking of women and things that are close to our heart, I'm going to take this one here. With Alicia Taylor and Mike Rome serving as the ring announcers for WWE Raw and WWE NXT respectively, another name will be joining the list, as former host Mark Schunock has been named as the new ring announcer for WWE SmackDown. He will be taking Lillian Garcia's place. Now, the reason why we're saying that this is a little close to home for us is because Mark Schunock is from Sault Ste. Marie.
Yes.
He's stepping into the ring with WWE. Schunock now announced on his X page, thrilled to join Friday Night SmackDown under the name. He's going to be joining us under the name of Mark Nash. I guess he's going to be Kevin Nash's brother, maybe. I don't know.
Right?
We'll see you tomorrow night at the O2. And he did. He showed up. It was his first night on Friday night. He's a former CHL player and theater performer in a number of productions, including Broadway. Chinook is no stranger to the world of hosting and ring announcing. He spent several years as the in-arena host for the Las Vegas Golden Knights NHL team, the Las Vegas Raiders NFL team, and was also the ring announcer and host for boxing promotion Top Rank Boxing. Chinook will be assuming the role of the SmackDown ring announcer from Lillian Garcia, who has served as the ring announcer for the brand since the January 3rd edition of the show. Prior to then, she had been the voice of Raw after she made her return to the WWE in late October last year. As of writing, Friday's SmackDown did emanate from London, and we did see that. And I thought he did a pretty decent job because I went back and rewatched it over the weekend. But this does hit home hard for us, given that this guy is a former Sueite, as we call ourselves.
Yes, he is a Sueite. I can't remember his relation, if he is the son or the grandson of Dr. George Chinook, former owner of our Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had the opportunity to see Mark Chinook in a Broadway play. I know he headed up the Vegas, but when Rock of Ages came to Sault Ste. Marie for the play, I was there, and Mark Chinook had to come home for that one.
Okay, so I'm going to let you guys in a little bit of my private life. I do enjoy watching Broadway plays, and I'm pissed off that I missed that one. I wanted to go see it when they came here.
Yeah, no, I had to, because I had already seen the movie, and I knew the movie was based on the play.
Mm-hmm. But no, I'm tremendously excited for this. From the only episode I've seen that he's done, we're going to be seeing more of him in the coming weeks. I thought he did a pretty good job for what he has for a voice,
for the prep time as well.
Mm.
Now let's ask this question: does this mean that this opens up a new avenue for the WWE to come back to Northern Ontario?
If he's got that kind of pull, please. Even if it's just going to Sudbury, I'd go.
Right?
Even though our arena is bigger than Sudbury's, just putting that out there. I would totally be 100% behind that. If even if they couldn't get I know that we wouldn't get Raw or SmackDown here, but if we can get NXT to come here,
right?
I would be fine with that.
Yeah. So yes, this is exciting news. We found this out on Friday going into the SmackDown security detail. So for us, and I know this made the Sioux Today the other day, so this is huge for us up here, not just in Sault Ste. Marie, but for Northern Ontario, that now we are getting some representation in a major promotion.
And not just from certain wrestlers that have been through our area who have appeared on Raw and who also currently appear on NXT. I'm talking of a certain referee. This is tremendously exciting for us as locals to see this. I do wish him all the best. I do wish him to succeed, as I do for everybody who comes into the business, whether they suck or not. I do want them to succeed. That's just how it is with me.
Right, absolutely. We want to see them succeed.
Yeah.
So we're going to touch on a company we don't touch on a lot now, and that is we are going to touch on some AEW. Now, last weekend, we saw AEW break up their Collision show. and they ran an hour of it on Saturday night after the NCAA college basketball tournament, and then they ran an hour on Sunday night as well, again after the tournament. Now, Warner Brothers Distributing is reportedly considering a special AEW TV block during the Stanley Cup playoffs, which we know that TNT carries the Stanley Cup and the NHL on Wednesdays.
Yes.
So, in the article, this past weekend, AEW Collision aired on 2 back-to-back nights due to the NCAA March Madness tournament taking place.
Right.
This meant AEW President Tony Khan scheduled 1 hour of Collision for both Saturday and Sunday night in order to avoid losing viewership or being forced to cancel the show for the week. In addition, Khan labeled the two-parter a slam dunk special and hoped that the lead-in from both NCAA games would increase ratings for the show on each night, and it was a giant success. AEW managed to draw over 500,000 viewers for each show, making both 1 hour programs the most watched episodes of Collision this year. And according to Andrew Zarian on Beyond the Bell, Khan will be looking to announce another special in the near future. This is not going to be the last time this year that they do something unique with the schedule. Spoke to someone a couple of weeks ago, and they were telling me that these are experiments that Warner Brothers Discovery is willing to try. I heard it from two sides from Warner that during the Stanley Cup playoffs, there's going to be an opportunity to do something very big, and the way that it was presented to me is that it is a possibility of a 4-hour special. Also noted that WBD is open to the idea of airing AEW programming during different time slots rather than canceling any shows when sports such as college basketball or events like the NBA All-Star Weekend take precedence. However, he then continued to explain the structure of AEW's schedule during the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs in order to get more eyes on the product. Nothing is set in stone for AEW to air a 4-hour program. Further detail about the company's history with combining their flagship shows into longer TV specials in order to ensure that they won't get canceled. The idea is still soft. It could just be Dynamite on and then followed by a Collision, so a 4-hour block. They did it with Rampage. It went on right after Dynamite, and people really enjoyed it, and the numbers did really well for Rampage because it was a third hour of the show. They are looking to do these more to see if they could do a large block of programming and just make it feel like a special for TV. Interesting that they're willing to do that, because generally you don't want a 4-hour show or 4-hour block, but this is another unique way to put it on so things don't get preempted or they don't get canceled. It's also mentioned that the 4-hour special will be presented as a pay-per-view level show, which reminded him of the original concept for Battle of the Belts. Also noted that there is still much uncertainty about how much time will be allocated for both Dynamite and Collision across the 4 hours, but AEW is prepared to put plans in place to maintain viewership during the Stanley Cup playoffs. Your thoughts?
I'm just, WWE has no problem preempting their shows. Nowadays, there will be no preempting for Raw during the playoffs because of, they're on Netflix and NHL isn't on Netflix, but
right.
It's why not just simply preempt your show instead of creating a 4-hour show?
Right now, and I've heard, because as I've sort of read, because this again was sort of starting to be discussed last week.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard potentially you could get an hour block. So you could have Dynamite for an hour. Let's say you've got 2 games on a Wednesday night. One ends at 7:30. Your next game doesn't start until 9:30. boom, you're going to throw in your Dynamite.
Or here's the other thing they could do. Because I know that, well, when the NHL playoffs happen, it's hockey every night.
Yeah.
For that first round, at least. Why couldn't they just take their show and bring back an old wrestling format that we haven't seen since the late 80s? And I'm talking some Saturday afternoon wrestling.
Right?
Just put it on in the afternoon. Put it live on in the afternoon. Everybody will be home. There you go.
I see where you're coming from, but again, I think that what they are looking at is, and I know that it means that they're just changing the time slots. Here's an even better idea. You've got WWE on Netflix. We know that there is hockey every night. I know it doesn't make it accessible to everybody. But if you're already televising your pay-per-views on Prime, as well as Warner Brothers Discovery and Max, as well as just stream it. You've got your Max distribution, and put it on Prime.
Do it live on YouTube.
You could do that too.
They know how to do it. They had shows that they used to broadcast live on YouTube.
Yep.
Because again, because the way you made it sounded like they want to do hockey, or is it they want to do a show in between hockey games?
It's like I said, like the article said, it is still a softball idea. It might be an hour in between games.
Yeah, see, that therein lays the problem a little bit there, because not every hockey fan is a wrestling fan. Not every
Right.
wrestling fan is a hockey fan. So
it could be you get a 2-hour block, or if you're going to get, let's say you're really moving through the first round and, everything is up 3-0. Not that that's likely, but, you've got all your games up 3-0. And we know that each series alternates nights.
yes.
But let's say you get that Saturday night somehow miraculously free. Boom, there is your time slot. Now you don't want to hit people with a 4-hour Saturday night Dynamite and Collision and put it at a pay-per-view level.
If I may add to that suggestion, a certain time that it should be on, 6:05. That was WCW Saturday Night's time slot.
It was. And actually, you know what? Let's go with, and we'll make it a real big special. AEW 4 hours of power.
And you do it at Center Stage. AEW's done shows there. WWE just did shows there.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm sort of intrigued, but a little bit confused by this. But I mean, like I said, WWE had no issues preempting their shows. Also, then again, USA Network, when Raw was there, didn't care. didn't carry NHL, so I mean, Raw being preempted didn't take a thing, but they knew that they were taking a hit as far as viewership goes during the playoffs. Yeah. But up here in Canada, Raw was preempted. We had to wait till midnight to watch the shows.
Yep.
And Bubba, yeah, why is AEW trying so hard there? I don't think they're really. I know TNT does carry the hockey. Because, well, NHL, I would believe that NHL is actually the bigger that attracts more viewers. So again, if you could just move your show, you could still tape it Wednesday. We'll say you don't have to do it live. Tape it Wednesday, throw it up on the air, say Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, whenever there's not a game. Just coordinate yourself with the NHL schedule.
Yeah.
Instead of doing like 1 hour in between the games.
And
yeah, that's
I think AEW is trying hard because they want to get eyeballs back onto their product. That's why they're going to these smaller venues and starting to get more people into the audience as well. And again, we don't watch a lot of it, so I can't speak to this, but from what I'm seeing, the little bits that I do see, it seems they're trying to tone down a little bit.
But yeah, I don't think it really hurts anybody to preempt it because you're still going to get your viewers regardless. All you got to do is just be like, hey, AEW Dynamite this Wednesday will be preempted for NHL hockey. You can catch us on this date doing the show.
Well, see, and that's the
Simple
thing
as
with
that.
Dynamite. It's on TBS, so TNT can carry the hockey. Collision is on TNT on Saturday nights.
Okay, so it's simple. Don't do Collision. Or move it to Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Tape it to Saturday night and then air it Sunday afternoon. Simple as that. Although TNT is probably, if I'm not mistaken, they might have the NASCAR contract too, and NASCAR usually airs on Sundays.
No, NASCAR is Fox.
Oh.
And USA.
Well, there you go. So,
but I do know that I believe TBS does carry some of the NHL playoffs because of their distribution deal as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure they'll figure it out, but this is just a discussion right now that they're having regarding that. And it's a discussion really that they should have done months ago because the playoffs are just around the corner. They're not far off.
The 17th is the last game of the regular season.
Yeah. But what do you say we move on to another story that is just incredible?
I think so.
I'm going to let you take the reins on this one too, because I'm not that familiar with it. I did watch the video today. I'm still trying to make heads or tails of what's going on.
See, I haven't watched a video. I didn't know there was one. This was, again, another one that came out a few days ago. But former ECW wrestler Justin Credible was interviewed by Maven, where he addressed accusations of scamming fans out of money by asking them to send him the money and never sending out orders. Did it happen? Did it happen? And this is what gets him crazy and why people got blocked. There was never anyone, not one, and he swore on his children. He goes to church every Sunday, blah, 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 blah. I don't believe in bullshit. I did all that stuff with the best intentions, and at times I would, and especially with promoters. This is going to pissed me off a lot. But with the merchandise stuff, I would sell this stuff very cheap, and for example, $40. And then by the time you get $40 on Cash App, it ends up being $37 or whatever. And then, I get the stuff ready. And then, by the time I buy food, I didn't have the money to send it. And it got to, I wasn't ready to do that. I wasn't equipped to do that. And then the thing is about the fans, and I don't like to call them marks because that's not fair. But a lot of these people that do this are so entitled. They started talking. They posted the cute shit, but they didn't post. You're this, you're that. Like, they feel free to. You wouldn't talk to me like this in real life. You'd be like, and I've given a lot of these fans my phone number and told them, hey, give me a call. Let's work this out, to no avail. He's also addressed not showing up for podcasts, interviews, and promoters. Not showing up for podcasts is ridiculous. That only happened one at a time, or maybe a second time when something happened. It's like, bro, of course, offer to reschedule, But then again, they go right online because they already have the impression that I'm trying to fuck with them or screw them. And then they start talking smack. And I don't tell you, if you ever noticed, you can go up and down my Twitter. I never badmouth anybody. And you know what? About the promoters where I show up, I do the match, and I'm owed $500, and they no-show me entirely. What happened too? I don't go online. It makes me laugh because they don't have I don't want to swear too much, but they don't have the effing integrity to say it to me. They'll go and do so of course I block people. I don't need to see that. People want to get a hold of me, you can email me. My email is not blocked. There's so many ways to get a hold of. This guy just rambles on incoherently. And look, are there some things I could have done better? Of course. Do I feel bad? Yes, because people didn't deserve that. But your brother, it's not like this big effing industry. If I made $300 or $400 and didn't send anything, that's a lot. And I'll tell you right now, if those people want PolacoPeter703 at gmail.com, I don't have cash right now to do it, but we'll work something out. If you want it, you deserve it, you paid for it. I'm embarrassed, but there's nothing else I can do. And again, I'm not trying to the scams. Even that word hurts my feelings because there was never an intention of a scam. It's not like an operation. I'm just trying to feed my wife and kids. And you think like the first thing I'm going to worry about is I didn't get my ship Friday? Well, Pro Wrestling Tees also doesn't send your ship in 2 or 3 weeks, believe me. I'm just saying. A lot of it could have been done differently on all the ways. If you meet me in an arena or anywhere in life, you could ask anybody in this build anywhere. I'm a good man. I'm an honest guy. I have flaws, but in person, and that's why, everybody still loves me in the business, that, the boys, I'm not a bad person. I've done some things that I'm not proud of, but geez, not to when people make a piece like that, if that stays in my ether, then forget. What?
Okay, so to sum it up, Justin Credible and Maven did a video interview because Maven had received some alarming words regarding Justin Credible and him scamming people out of money, whether
Right.
it was for appearances, for merch that they bought off him, or podcast appearances, like they've mentioned. So what Maven went ahead and did is he went to Justin Credible's home, I think it was. They sat down and they went over everything, and Credible tries to explain himself.
Right.
So Maven had left. He was like, okay, I believe you. I agree. Maybe this was all just a misunderstanding. But then Maven got some calls after that because it was making the rounds that he was doing this interview with Justin Credible.
Right.
He got some calls from some really reliable sources within the industry, he had said, and said that Justin Credible continued to do this after that interview happened.
Wow. Well, I mean, why is Justin Credible asking the fans to call him or email him and work out a deal? He's already been paid for this stuff.
Let me finish here. Those fans that were mentioned all reached out to Maven and said no calls were ever made, no emails were ever sent, nothing like that.
Right. But there, Justin stated, reach out to me. You have my number.
They did. Didn't get a response back from him.
But then you already have the person's information. When you have the money to make that shipment, make that shipment.
Yeah, and that's on Justin's side. Justin Credible needed to have that money to make that shipment.
Yeah.
But he took that money because here's how ordering online is supposed to work, right? Say I buy something for $100, right? That $100 covers the product, the shipping, all of that. That's what that $40. Just Incredible specifically mentioned something about $40 from an order in the interview. That's what that $40 was supposed to cover. It was supposed to cover the merch that was sold, plus the money used to ship it out.
Mm.
And he took that money and didn't do that. It's kind of like what we do here with Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. If we make money off of it, we take that money, we turn it around and put it into our business. We don't see a cent of it. That's
Right.
sort of what Just Credible had done there. He
Right.
took all the money for himself and didn't ship out the product.
Right. But I know what he's saying is that it wasn't intentional, and that's why he reached out and said, look, I've given out my phone number, here's my email. I don't hear from anybody. But what I'm asking is why, when you get the money, you've already got this information, you've got the address, make those shipments instead of delaying.
That, yeah,
you know,
that's where,
or alert your customer, look, the shipment is delayed, it will be out as soon as possible.
That's what I'm getting at, Bubba. Bubba is saying Justin is lying. He's flat out lying. He did this interview to make himself look good, but it didn't. That's what he was doing. He took the money for himself, for his addictions, because he does have addictions. That's been well documented. He does have a family to feed, and you know what? I do see that side of that, but it's still fishy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we all know that, and I'm going to make a little bit of a joke on Just Incredible. We all know that he worked at Olive Garden at one time, because he did. There's been several pictures of him taking pictures with fans at whatever Olive Garden location he worked at. But yeah, he's been lying. He basically did what Brutus Beefcake did to the CWE.
Right.
And I'm not knocking Ed Leslie in any way, because I wasn't there for that situation, so I don't know the full story.
Right.
And I know it's sad to say that about Just Incredible, because I loved Just Incredible. And you and I got to watch him wrestle live when he was wrestling as PJ Walker.
And as Aldo Montoya.
Oh, that's right, too. Aldo Montoya for the Hall of Fame, by the way. Hey, but there was one thing I wanted to say that I took away from this interview. He's dealing with some massive skin issues in his leg, and a lot of people said that was fake. He literally went up to Maven and he pulled up his leg pants, and he's like, "This isn't not fake." And all you saw was purple and black and disgustingness on the bottom of his leg. And
so why is he still trying to go out and wrestle?
So that he can make his medical payments, because there's so much to do for it. That's where, if I'm Hunter, and maybe he won't, maybe he will, but if Hunter reaches out and gives him a Legends deal, because that's, again, the Legends deal, right? It pays for all these wrestlers' health benefits and helps them get back to being healthy. And I would reach out to Just Incredible just to give him help for that.
Right. Because, I mean, in trying to read this transcript, it seemed like he was all over the place and incoherent babble. And I don't know if he was in any condition to perform the interview.
He seemed okay from what I watched, but it was just him trying to save face. That's what it was. You could totally tell it in his face, in his eyes, with the way Maven was talking to him. Maven was talking to him really calmly. He was kind of fidgety and on edge. And he was just a little bit on the sketchy side and really defensive. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Maven caught him in the lie afterwards because, like I said, afterwards when word was getting out that he was doing this, there was a lot of people who reached out to Maven who told their side of the story, and yeah, it's it's sad. It's sad that Justin Credible has gone to this situation. There are there are alternatives out there, and I know that he was living on a good contract when he was with the WWE, and he probably squandered all that money because of his addictions. ECW wasn't paying him well. ECW wasn't paying anybody well, actually.
No, they weren't.
But yeah, I mean, it's sad to see Justin Credible doing this. Um, he needs help. He does.
Yeah.
That's where we can leave that. But I think we're getting close to that 1 hour mark, and I want to spend some time. I actually got a quick little story here that caught my eye. It was moments before I was creating the show, so I thought I'd cover it today as well. Because, both you and I are gamers. Bubba is also a gamer as well. And we
Yeah.
game on all different types of platforms, whether it's the PlayStation, PC, Nintendo, Xbox, our phones. WWE has aligned themselves with a mobile game, and it's a very popular mobile game at that. Clash of Clans is aligning
Okay.
with the WWE. On WWE, part of TKO Holdings and Supercell, which is the makers of the game, the popular mobile game Clash of Clans which has amassed more than 2 billion lifetime downloads, today announced a new partnership that will see a roster of WWE superstars headline an electrifying in and out of game event throughout the month of April. Under the new partnership, undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes, Rhea Ripley, The Undertaker, Bianca Belair, and other WWE superstars will be reimagined as iconic characters inside the world of Clash of Clans, culminating in an enhanced match sponsorship at WrestleMania 41 at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Fans will be able to experience the WWE superstars in Clash of Clans beginning Tuesday, April 1st, and enjoy a host of WWE themed features appearing in the game throughout the month, including themed environments, gameplay events, cosmetics, and Easter eggs, paying homage to WWE's rich legacy. Headlining the integration is Rhodes, who, after nearly a decade of playing Clash of Clans and being in the top 10% of players worldwide, will be reimagined in the game as Barbarian King at the same time under his longtime Overlord Rhodes player handle. Rhodes stars in the live action launch video and reveals a gameplay style built on villainous destruction and domination. Additional WWE superstar integrations include, as I mentioned before, Rhea Ripley, The Undertaker, Bianca Belair, Rey Mysterio will be in the game, Kane will be in the game, Becky Lynch, and Jey Uso will also be in the game. I've spent years building my legacy in WWE, but it's time for fans to know that I've landed most of my victories in Clash of Clans, said Rhodes. As Overlord Rhodes, I don't defend, I conquer villages. I conquer. Villages will fall, and any opposition will be crushed under my command. This isn't about playing fair in the ring. It's about ruling the battlefield. Just like at WrestleMania 41, I'm stepping in with one goal, absolute victory. I've waited a long time for this moment. And now that I've arrived, my phone decided to shut off on me here. Give me 1 second. Or not shut off on me, it's going to sleep. When the game team found out Cody Rhodes and other superstars were longtime Clash Clans, okay, there's actually a lot of discussion here. This is actually pretty exciting for fans of the series. OMD, what do you make of this?
Um, I've never played the game, so I don't know a whole lot about it.
It's
Um,
basically domination. You battle other clans to dominate
um,
other places. Sorry, I've got to turn my light off here. My phone
so
is dying.
we've seen this numerous times on different consoles. I mean, we've seen Ronda Rousey had an appearance in a game. We've had Batista and the New Day in the Gears of War series.
Mm-hmm.
We've had Cody, Ray, Rhea on Call of Duty, I do believe. But again, this is exciting. This is, again, a new market and a way to expand your brand, get eyes on your talent.
Mm-hmm. And this is a huge thing for Supercell, who basically, in my personal opinion, they seem to dominate the mobile game market. Um, this is a big deal for both companies. This again, you mentioned other games. You also mentioned Fortnite. They have also appeared in. I think Becky Lynch was a character in that one. We've got Joe Hendry appearing in PUBG Mobile coming up. This is exciting. I used to play Clash of Clans, but I deleted it because it takes up a lot of space on your phone.
Right.
I might go back and just give it a try just to see again.
Right.
But no, this is exciting. I'm intrigued. This is a good way to get fresh eyes who uh, maybe who maybe don't watch WWE but are like, oh, WWE stuff. I like this Cody Rhodes guy. Maybe I'll tune into Raw or SmackDown and watch this stuff. Bubba Do coming in saying that he's happy about this situation. This is a good move for both teams. I'm very happy about the fact that Supercell is teaming with them. Maybe we get some good WWE games on the mobile market from Supercell out of this
Yes.
situation too. Because let's face it, Supercard's a good game, but the other WWE games that are there, hit and miss for me personally.
Right. I played Supercard very briefly and it just didn't resonate with me.
And I got addicted to it and I played it for like 3-4 years. So
I know Carl Carafel used to play it quite a bit too, but
yeah. But you know what? Since we're coming down to the wire here, let's go to the Showstopper segment because this is a pretty big one that I think deserves some discussion here. So let's take a look here. And of course, for those of you on the screen, we're looking at the freelance market situation over in Japan. OMD, I'm sorry I threw you into a loop there. I clicked the wrong video, so I did that. But right now, one of the biggest names in New Japan Pro Wrestling is now working as a freelancer. And a freelancer is basically in Japan is basically a free agent. They can go wherever they want. They can wrestle for however many dollars they choose. But the biggest name, his contract just came to an end back in January. And we're only just finding out about this, but Tetsuya Naito's contract has come to an end with New Japan. They are still trying to negotiate a new deal. Let's keep that in mind. But I want to talk about where we could possibly see Naito go. I know the surefire thing would probably be AEW, but I don't want him to go there.
no. I don't see it happening. I mean, we know he's done his matches for Forbidden Door.
Mm-hmm.
I think long term he's going to stay with New Japan.
Yes.
But you got to remember, now you have that United Japan Pro umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
So he could go and work for All Japan. He could go and work for Noah, DDT. He can go and make a guest appearance even for one of the women's companies, whether it's Shimmer, Stardom. He's just there as a guest. He's obviously not getting in and competing. Could we see him come over and work at TNA? I believe we've seen that a number of years ago. Do I expect to see him come to NXT and WWE? No.
it's well, let's speak on that possibility, because well, right now, and this is why I personally don't think I do think he stays with New Japan, is because right now he is currently one half of the IWGP Tag Team Champions with Hiromu Takahashi.
Yes.
Um, there's a part of me because Naito became one of the reasons that I continued to watch New Japan after ordering the Tokyo Dome show back in 2012 or 2011, whichever one it was that Jeff Jarrett co-promoted. Um, I became a massive fan of his since that day, and it's like I know that like again I know the surefire bet would be for him to, let's say if he were to come over here, would be to go to AEW because I mean Tanahashi's there. The Young Bucks are there. Guys he has worked with in the past are all there. The Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, all that.
Yeah.
But I feel like he would be a great fit for TNA.
Yeah.
If he were to, that again, this is speaking on speculation. If he were to come over here,
Yes.
I would love to see him go to TNA and even do the crossover stuff and come over to NXT, do some work with just because he's in the ring right now on my screen, Trick Williams, Ethan Page.
To be honest, I think yes, doing the crossover, I think he would be a great fit to come over and work with international superstars, especially on Evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially as a guest on LFG.
Yeah.
That's where I see him. But yeah, I think the ideal North American fit for him is TNA. And that would be a huge get for them.
Yeah, because Naito is a gigantic name in Japan. And well, okay, so he's been saying like he was asked about his contract, right? He said currently, let me see here. I'm going to scroll to where he mentions this. Naito commented on his New Japan status directly and said he wasn't happy with how often he's being used. I understand that it is treated as an important product, but players who have a day off can do maintenance or, if anything, get a qualification for retirement, said Naito. But the players who have been out all the time and don't have that kind of time and their bodies are getting more and more exhausted. I said that the difference was too big, but basically I can't accept it. So I feel like I'm putting it on hold this year because I have the same questions. Basically, he's not happy with how little he's being used, is what he's saying here. He wants more time should he come to an agreement with New Japan. So now I've got to wonder at this point. I'm leaning towards TNA. NXT would be the two fits for him because AEW's track record with taking on new guys, not exactly the best.
No.
Whereas with TNA, NXT, he'd be used on a weekly basis.
Yeah. He is going in established. He is a credible name. I think for him to go in and become a mentor, and I look at a guy like right now on my screen, a Javon Evans.
Right.
I think if he was to go up to the main roster, I think you've got to do that Naito Nakamura.
Yeah, they've had some great matches in New Japan. I'm also thinking of guys he may not have met before in maybe Penta, Ray Fenix as well. And Naito's been around the block. He's been with New Japan off and on for the better part of 15 years, I would say, give or take.
Right.
But this does interest me. I fully intend on keeping a close eye on this deal. I do think that he will eventually re-sign with New Japan. It's just New Japan has to come to a middle road with him, as it were.
Absolutely.
But just spitballing, if he does come over to the side of the planet, I know AEW, again, like I said, would be the surefire because there's a bunch of guys there that he's worked with. Like I said, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Tanahashi. But if he really wanted to come into his own and not have to worry about everybody, not have to worry about not getting used, I should say,
Right.
TNA or NXT would be the better bets for him.
Could you see Naito come over and become a manager more so than an in-ring talent?
It's a possibility, but knowing the way Naito worded that stuff there, it sounds like he wants to be in the ring a little bit more.
Right.
I could see him coming over and maybe helping Nakamura out, perhaps, even though Nakamura is doing great on his own right now.
Right.
But yeah, those are just spitballing some ideas on where we could see it. But like I said, he is currently one half of the IWTP Tag Team Champions with Hiromu Takahashi. He'd have to drop that title before anything happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, on that note, OMD, I think we're going to showcase the things we've got going on with the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. All times are in Eastern Time. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m., followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Thursday we got total non-stop action with Brace for Impact at 8 p.m. Friday we game again with Unleashed, the Jessica Wilde story at 7 p.m. Following the game, join us for the SmackDown Security Detail at 8 p.m. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. On Sunday be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. followed by the Boar's Nest at 8 p.m. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day.
Yeah, and if you want any more information regarding the affiliation program, all you got to do is go to affiliationprogram.my.canva.site. From there, you'll be able to reach out and talk with any one of us, and maybe reach out and do some collaborations, as it were. OMD, where can the people find you?
They can find me at my link tree, linktr.ee/OMD show. Visually, you can find me just about any night of the week here on the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. For yourself, Mr. Best.
Yeah, you can look for me at my link tree, linktr.ee/Chris_best83. Tomorrow night, you will look for me, 8 p.m. Eastern, alongside OMD and a special guest, one Bubba Duke, as we take a look at Call of Duty Black Ops 6 for the PlayStation Showcase. On that note, OMD, what are those famous words we like to go out on?
Ladies and gentlemen, the world is a scary place. Take care of each other. From all of us here at Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, to those of you out there wherever you are, good night, good luck, we out.